Is stress your enemy or your ally? Bonjour, Practical Dreamers, it's Claire from integrallylife.com. With practical body, mind, wisdom and tools for balancing life with relaxed energy, effortless action and meaningful connections. Today I'm talking about stress. I read yet another article about stress recently, and oh my God, isn't it the bad guy? Yeah, he's got a lot of bad press, presented as an enemy, something to overcome in the best scenario. But in the same time, I know people, and maybe you are one of these people, or you know someone who will tell you, but stress is good. I need stress to create. I need stress to do anything. If I'm not under pressure, I won't do anything. So where's the line? Stress is bad, something we want to get rid of, absolutely, or we can use it, or maybe we need it. So let's dive into it. And let's go to the root. Stress is an evolutionary necessity. It's a stimuli to take action. So let's be clear, if it wasn't for stress, we wouldn't stand here. None of us. Like, we are here because we are the descendants of people who, when they saw a tiger cyber back when we lived with tiger cyber, they did something. They fought it, they ran fast, but they did something. They just didn't stay here and say, ooh, what a nice tiger. No, they did something. And that is stress-based. Stress is just a stimuli, something that says you, hey, do something. There is something wrong here, and I flush you with these hormones so you have no doubt about it, and you are moved to take action, and in some ways literally moved, like your muscles are tensing, which is an effect of stress, because you need to take action. You need to run, you need to fight, you need to use your muscles. Now, the problem is, in our society today, we don't have cyber anymore, but we have other kind of stress that we cannot do anything about because it wouldn't be accepted by society. Like punching your boss in the face, for example. That's not very accepted in society, isn't it? And lots of people would like to do so anyway, but they don't. And they keep the stress inside. And this is just one of, easy cliche example, but I'm sure you have plenty of it in your head. So we live in a society of chronic stress where it just adds up, and we can't, or we think we can't take action about it. And that's the only moment when stress is a problem. Stress is a lifesaver, but it becomes a problem when action is not possible, either because it really isn't, like there is a real physical impossibility, or we have a perceived impossibility. And so we won't do anything, and we just keep the stress inside, which leads to a lot of illness, a lot of psychological and body dysfunctions. Now, whether we can take action or not, in any case, adding resistance to the stress is making it bigger. So if you feel stressed, and if you're like, oh my God, that is bad, and you begin to add stress on stress in the end, that's what it is. Well, what you resist persists, and good luck with that. The thing is, stress will always be there in one form or another. So it's not about getting rid of all the stress in our life. Now, sometimes it is. I'm not saying stay in your horrible position when you can change it. But we also need to work on the other hand, which is regulating our nervous system. And I'm talking about a lot about that. I have videos on this already, and I will do others, so I'm not getting into it today in this video. But I've especially, I might link that one for orientating, which is a very nice and short way to regulate. And if I remember correctly, I even have, yes, the guided exploration in the podcast. So I will link it somewhere, probably here below, if you're listening on YouTube. And you can go watch that video for self-regulation of your nervous system, which is essential, like learning to be larger than your stress. But now, I would like to say on in this video today on your relationship towards stress. Are you using it? Is it your ally, or are you just stressing to be stressed, like overwhelmed kind of situation? If you need stress to move on, to create, do something, there is something wrong. It's normal to get boosted, like anyone would get boosted by an approaching deadline, for example, because there is a rush in adrenaline. But if you constantly need an adrenaline shot to get moving, to work, then something might be broken in your workflow. You might have changed your tolerance to stress, and then not, well, that's how when people might say you things like you don't take things seriously enough, for example. So stress is an indicator, it's a symptom. Don't shoot the messenger. Let's listen to it. So you need stress to work, to move. Okay, is it a one-off, like an important deadline or this kind of stuff? Then it's okay. But if it's chronic, like I said before, well, you might do something that is not aligned anymore with what you want to do, and then it feels boring and you need really a big motivation to do it. You might do something that is not in your genius zone and you're not interested in doing. Again, boring. Maybe you need to delegate it. If you can't delegate, maybe you need to find a way to change your point of view on this. If you have to do it anyway, you might as well find a way to do it that feels a little bit exciting. Maybe just seeing what it brings you. Like, I don't know, taxis is not really interesting for me, but I have to do it. And so they say I'm not really delegating it, not everything. So I still have a little bit to do about it. And I'm not very excited about it, but it's the thing that keeps my business going and that keeps me doing what I love. So I choose to focus on that. And then it becomes really okay to do my taxes. So, things like that. Find something that motivates you without having to rely on stress, like, oh, I have to do it because it's the last day, it's the last minute, something like that. Now, another thing is, if it's chronic, you might be addicted to adrenaline. You probably are by now. We are, and again, that would be a subject of a totally entire podcast, but we totally can be, and most of us are addicted to our emotions. When we have an emotional pattern, usually we are addicted to the hormones that goes with this emotional pattern. So if you need stress to move you might be addicted to adrenaline. The sensation of being under pressure, if it's not going through your threshold, it's exciting. You feel alive when you do this. Think about the times when you do an extreme sport, like, I don't know, like climbing, for example. You feel really alive. It's lots of good stress. Well, we feel kind of this when we rely on stress to do things. So take this in account. Just just observe how much stress do you need to take action. So if you need to feel always, passionate, you might be addicted to adrenaline and you might overwork. It might push you to overwork. So how can you bring more satisfaction and appreciation in the now, in what you're doing? So you don't need to look for better ways. And you are happy with lower levels of adrenaline and cortisol and stress. And if you're on the other side of the spectrum, if you're overwhelmed with stress, you might need to take action to answer this stimuli. There is something wrong there too. So can you take balls off? Can you take a bit of stress off, or do you need to enlarge your capacity to take stress in and to be okay with that? Maybe it's a situation you need to get away altogether. What is the core of the overwhelm? What is one action you can take in regards to it? And sometimes the answer will be right now, no actions. I'm just stuck in this situation and it sucks, but I don't see how I can get out of it. So sometimes you cannot do anything right now, but you can in the future. Maybe it's something you have some kind of deadline and you know after that date you will be able to move, then schedule that. This is one action actually. Schedule that in your calendar. You are sending a message to your unconscious that, okay, it's just momentarily, but at that time I will be able to move on. Even if it's just, I don't know, in 1 month brainstorm about blah, but at least there is a possibility that opens. You're not stuck. And I'll just try it and you will see it lowers the stress. And it doesn't need to be grandiose. It just needs to be one action. And then if even that is not on the map, then just open the possibility to start looking for solutions instead of just coping with the problem as if there weren't solutions. And you might need some help, you might need a coach, you might need a therapy, you might need, I don't know, sometimes for other people, it's easier to see what the situation is and to come up with new ideas. But at least starting to change the mindset towards solution is also an action that will help. And if you are ready for the extra mile, I've got another question for you. What kind of stress are you more familiar with? The, I want this, I need to do something to get it, or no, I cannot stand this anymore. Enough, that's enough. I need to do something now. Because that's not the same result on your psyche and on your actions. And that's just some things to think about this week. I will talk a lot more about this next week. But for now, that was your weekly dose of fierce love. Your life gets easier. Thanks for being here. Really, thank you for being here. As usual, drop your comments and questions on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. I love these conversations. I always reply. This is why I'm doing all of these, guys. This is why I'm doing all of this. So subscribe to get more, spread the fierce love, share to anyone who needs to hear that, and stay tuned for the next video. Until then, embody 100% you. Au revoir. Bye.